You know, usually I don't look like this when filming videos, but my hair's not done, my eyebrows are done, and if my eyebrows aren't done, then I can't do my makeup. My nails aren't done. I mean, they're done, but they need to fill in. It's rough, so I'm on here looking like this. Yeah. Hey loves, my name is Tyrenee and welcome back to my YouTube channel. As you can see from the title of this video, I just experienced playing Final Fantasy 16 for the first time, and I wanted to open up with y'all on some initial thoughts of mine while playing this game. I had a lot to say. I really do. But before I say how I feel, please do not forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on all social platforms. And then without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into my review of Final Fantasy 16. Now, I will say it's only fair to state that there will be spoilers ahead, so if you're on your first playthrough or you're planning to experience this game in the future, you're more than welcome to skip out of this video, and I look forward to being with you in the next one. Now, I also wanted to add that I was intentionally going to hold off on filming this video because I intended to play the DLC and then give you my thoughts. Well, DLCs, because there's more than one. However, I just thought it wouldn't be fair to do that considering there are other Final Fantasy games that I have played and I've given you guys my review before playing the DLCs. So I'm just going to talk to you guys about my thoughts on the base game, and of course I'm going to play the DLCs later in the future. I won't necessarily do a video on that. I think I've never done like reviews on just DLCs, but that's something that is still going to take place in the future with me playing the DLCs. Final Fantasy 16 takes place in a world of Phalisthea where towering mother crystals provide nations with ether, which is a source of magic and political power. And as the blight spreads and resources dwindle, there are rivalry empires that wage war using dominance, which is humans that can transform into godlike beings, which is called icons. And we are focusing on the protagonist named Clive Rossfield, and he is the firstborn son of Archduke of Rosaria, though the dominant of fire Phoenix was given to his brother Joshua in favor, and Clive was given the responsibility to protect him, which is his shield. So one night there was this horrifying invasion of Rosaria that happened by the Holy Empire of Sambrak, and Joshua, mind you, Joshua is Clive's little brother, he's very little at this time, transforms into a phoenix to defend his homeland. But little did you know, there's a second icon, and it's called Ifrit, handles fire as well. Ifrit appears to kill Phoenix, and at this time Clive thinks, oh my god, my brother is dead because of this. Years later, Clive was enslaved and he was forced to serve as a branded soldier, and he spent all this time believing that Ifrit was the murderer of his brother. Yet, little did he know that he was actually the dominant of Ifrit. Years later, Clive discovers that he was forced into transforming into Ifrit that night by the manipulations of Ultima, and he was freed from slavery by Sid, and he reunites with his childhood friend Jill, and these two join a rebel cause that is dedicated to destroying the mother crystals. And Sid believes that the crystals are draining the land's life that exploits bears as well, and there are a total of 5 mother crystals that need to be destroyed. In one incident, when trying to reach a mother crystal, Ultima attempts to possess Clive, in which Joshua steps in to take Ultima into him. And though Clive was unconscious, this is the first time that the two of them were in the same room, I guess. since the attack in their homeland. And unfortunately, Sid does pass away in this incident, and we reach another time skip. I forgot to mention, but there are 2 time skips, where 5 years later, Clive takes on Sid's name and carry out Sid's mission. We also do see Annabella, which is Clive and Joshua's unfortunate mother, as an empress to the Empire of Sandbreak, and she shares a child with Emperor Sylvester, in which her goal is to have her own child, which is the stepson of Dion, take the throne instead of Dion having it. And then Joshua makes Dion aware of Ultima's plans, which results in Dion killing both his brother and his father. And then Annabella takes her own life, accepting the reality that she caused for everyone, which was showing favoritism to one child, selling one to slavery, and then sending that child's friend to the Iron Kingdom. Fast forward, it's revealed that Ultima is so invested in Clive because Clive has the ability to basically carry the power of many icons compared to other dominants who can only handle one at a time. Ultima wanted to shift Clive into Mythos so he could be a vessel for him. Now, mind you, reminder, Clive can possess all of the powers of different icons, which is from Ifrit, Garuda, Rama, Titan, Bahamut, Shiva, and Odin. However, Joshua discovers that Ultima also seeks the power of the Phoenix as well, and Joshua is the dominant of Phoenix. He also learns that Ultima's people seeded Valisthea with the Mother Crystals to take the ether for a resurrection spell after succumbing into an earlier blight. Therefore, the Fallen and the Descendants were created to form a vessel power enough to cast that spell. And in the end of this game, we see Clive, Joshua, and Dion make their way to the Origin, which is a sky fortress where Ultima's fragments merge. Ultima kills Dion before snatching the fragment that he had in Joshua, and in his final moments, Joshua makes this huge sacrifice to giving his power to Clive. And in the end, Clive does defeat Ultima and destroys the final Mother Crystal within Origin, and that completely removes all of magic in Valisthea forever. And we see Clive washed up on the shore as he is slowly dying from petrification, and in the post-credit scene, we see a very distant future where magic is considered to be a fairy tale thing. And then there's this book that is called Final Fantasy. I know they said the title of the game in the game, that's crazy. Appears to be written by Joshua Roosevelt. So you're probably wondering what are my overall thoughts, and honestly, I'm conflicted for many reasons. For one, these characters are written in a way that they are incredibly easy to like and dislike. Right off the bat, Joshua became my favorite character based on everything that occurred in the beginning of the game, and I thought he was so adorable as a baby, like, oh my god. I also knew that he was gonna still be alive throughout the events after the beginning of the game, so I was really invested to see how he would return and why did he return and what role he took on throughout the rest of the game. And as for my least favorite character, it's Annabella, 100%. She's so blatant favoritism and ended up betraying both her family and her homeland because she was greedy. Alrighty, editing Ty here as I am bundled up in the bed working on this video. Before I say what I say, I just want to state that I am freezing cold. I have a long sleeve shirt on, I'm wearing a jacket, I got 3 blankets on this bed, all nice and buttered up, and I'm still freezing cold. That's neither here or there. I'm doing this because y'all probably wondering, how do you feel about Clive and Jill? I feel like I needed more screen time with them. There were moments where I felt like they were close, and then they were just like not with each other. They were close, not with each other. And that's not to say they needed to be huddled up with each other 24/7, but I feel like I needed more screen time with them to really feel something. There were a couple moments where I felt something for them, like when they reunited for the first time in years, when Jill gave Clive her power, when Clive saved Jill twice because she was about to, and then like on the ship, and them saying their goodbyes before Clive went to Origin, and Jill crying at the end when everything was done. I feel like there was so much more, and I think the reason why I thought there was so much more because of how social media talked about these two. And I feel like maybe I'm greedy. I am someone who loves love for fictional characters, and I just needed more of them, and unfortunately I did not get enough. I will say that my favorite Final Fantasy couples so far would have to be Cloud and Tifa and Squall and Noah, and I wanted Clive and Jill to be up there. Unfortunately, that's just not the case for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and lay in the bed and try to get warm while I'm, editing this video here for you. So we'll roll the clip. As for the combat, it felt incredibly limited to me. First and foremost, I was really butthurt when I realized that other characters weren't playable. I was hoping that I would be able to switch between Clive, Jill, and Joshua where they were a part of the party. For some reason, I was not expecting it too much with like Sid, Torgal, Gav, or like Byron, but I just thought there would be some flexibility because from what I've seen, it appeared that Clive, Joshua, and Jill were like the main trio. Having only one playable character was such a huge shift compared to playing other Final Fantasy games. The only time someone other than Clive was playable was Joshua, and that was at the very beginning of the game. So I was hoping we would get a chance to play him again as an adult, but that never happened, and that was honestly really disappointing to me. Another thing that stood out to me was how little help you could provide to the rest of your party. Even though I couldn't switch characters and control them, I wasn't able to upgrade their weapons, stock them up with items, or even heal them if their health got low. And when it came to Clive's combat specifically, I found myself relying more on the icons and his limit break versus where in earlier Final Fantasy games, combat felt more balanced with basic attacks, defense, magic, and limit breaks all playing a role at the same time. Technically, yes, magic does show up throughout the icons, but I just miss the classic recognizable spells like Cure, Holy, Protect, Reflect. You get the idea. But my favorite icons to use in battle were definitely Shiva, Bahamut, and Rama and Odin. My least favorite was Titan. I used it one time and I was like, this is not working for me. Usually do have boss fights that I consider as favorites in each Final Fantasy game. As for this one, I didn't have one in particular. Now, I will say the visuals for majority of the boss fights are very captivating, and I don't know if I'm the only person who thinks this, but whenever it came to the visuals of these boss fights, I thought it took a lot of inspiration from Ozura's Wrath with reaction commands and just everything looking like I was watching a movie. And it was, the visuals in Ozura's Wrath are like very astounding. If you don't know what that is, just go on YouTube and just look at one clip of like a boss fight and you'll see where I'm pulling from that idea that I think Ozura's Wrath was a lot of inspiration for Final Fantasy 16's boss fights. Since starting this channel, I have been really vocal about how much I dislike side quests in many games, and I'm someone who really wants to focus on the main storyline. However, while I was playing this game, a lot of you have suggested that I try some side quests because they add more context to the story. And I did take your advice and I did try a few of them. At first, I really didn't mind it because I was like, oh, this is all easy. This is simple work. But as I got farther on down the line, I did about more than 5, less than 10. And then I kind of just stopped doing them because eventually just felt like I had to do them like it was a chore. And I don't like feeling like I have to do stuff that are like, that feels like a chore in the game. So I just dropped it and I just kept my focus on the main storyline. As how I feel for the main storyline, There were some moments that took my attention and made my jaw drop. I will say, for instance, the opening of this game. A lot has happened in the beginning of the game, and so much had happened that when the logo of the game popped up, I was like, wait, that's the beginning. It just threw me in for a loop. But I just forgot that that was the prologue when the logo just popped up. Another scene that I really enjoyed where Torgo saves Jill from being and another scene I think about was Dion basically being a crash out and Clive and Joshua having to step in and calm him down while they encounter their vicious mother for the first time, and God knows how long before she and I would put the finale up there as well as things that like made my jaw drop. I don't know why, but I just wanted to say I was like in so much disbelief when Joshua, because I was like, no, that's my baby. And like, I don't want to say it was like a full circle moment, but like it was like a failed job kind of trope thing, you know, where it's like a trope where someone does everything in the power. They try to protect this one person. They say, I swear on my life I will protect you no matter what, and then in the end that person still, and that just broke my heart. And I remember there was like tears like coming up in my eyes with Joshua's final moments, and even after the fight and Joshua Clive takes Joshua's wounds and he's still like not waking up. I was like, is he gonna wake up? That hurt me for sure, because I just had flashbacks to when I first started the game, and just looking at Joshua and seeing how big and brave he was at such a young age and taking on the role of the Phoenix and trying to protect his homeland, and them being separated for God knows how long, only for their bond to be taken away from Ultima. So that really hurt me. Well, that does bring us to the end of today's video. What are your thoughts on Final Fantasy 16? Comment down below so we can start a discussion. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on all social platforms. And I look forward to being with you in the next video. Much love.